Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today we have this beautiful half crown coin from the United Kingdom from 1962. This was the 10th year of Queen Elizabeth's reign. She started in 1953. And this coin itself actually, in this version, came out in 1954. As you remember, of course, the 1953 version was had Queen of all Britons on the front, or Brit Om, and after 53 they didn't have that anymore. That was a kind of a coronation year thing. But what do we got here? Well, we look around the outside and we see this beaded outer rim. It says Fid Def here, Defender of the Faith. We have the crosses on each side. Underneath it says half crown 1962. And a half crown, of course, is 1/8 of a British pound sterling. It's also the equivalent, let me show you something. The half crown is the equivalent of 2 shillings and 6 pence. So if you add these three together, and these are all 62s also, you see, on the shillings, you can see this is the Scottish shilling with the lion standing. This is 1962. This is the 6 pence with the rose and thorn and Irish, the Northern Irish shamrock and the Welsh leek around this side. And of course this is the English version of the shilling with the 3 lions lying down, and there's a 1962. So these three, 2 shillings and 6 pence equals 1 crown, which equals 1/8 of a British pound sterling. I guess if we wanted to bring that into terms for the United States or Canada, this coin would be worth half of a $1/4. So 2 of these, or a crown, would be worth 1/4 of a British pound. Now when we look at this, we see there's a crown here on the top, and then there's a shield. On the left of the shield is an E, and on the right of the shield is an R. And of course that's for Elizabeth Regina, or Queen Elizabeth. This is called a crowned quartered shield. And let's max it up. And then of course you see, very similarly to the shilling coin, you see the English lion's passon and the Scottish lion rampon, and you see the Irish harp on this one. We don't have a Welsh symbol on this particular quartered shield. Now, if we look to the sides, we see that it is milled edge or rim, and then on the front we see this, and this is just a nice coin, a little bit of a dot there, but we don't usually clean those, we just leave them on. It says Regina Elizabeth, and so we start way over here, Elizabeth II, Dea Gratia Regina, Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen. Now, the 1962, some of you may have looked to this video, because the 1962 has 4 known varieties. And it is of course a copper nickel coin. These coins were not made after 1946 in silver. And of course in 1946 Elizabeth was not the queen. Her father, King Edward VI, was still the king, and they changed from silver to copper nickel after 1946. So what do we got here? Well, we have the Mary Gillick portrait facing to the right, Elizabeth. Just on the half crown coins you can really see what a great portrait this is, the kind of hair that tufts up here. This is the young laureate version of the Queen Elizabeth bust coins, and you can see the ribbons coming out the back, the kind of laureate wreath going up here. So Mary Gillick did this for the 1953 coin, and it stayed on the coins until the 1970s. What are the different versions? Well, there's 2 different front versions. On one, the eye of the Dia Gracia goes between two beads. See how that points right straight between two beads? That's version 1. On the it's called obverse 3. In obverse 4, this I on Dia Gracia goes straight towards the bead. So it's funny, they kind of twisted the inner portrait and the words around in some of them so that this eye faces a bead or it doesn't face the bead. There's also a reverse, two different reverse variants on here. And one is, if we look at deaf, the D of deaf is facing at a bead. And then of course this one, let me see. If we follow this straight out, it goes straight out to a bead. Can you see? So what you do is you take this line here and you follow it straight out and it hits the bead. On the reverse D, the D of deaf goes between two beads. And it doesn't look as obvious right here, but this actually goes straight out to the bead. It would come up a little higher there on reverse 2. And so what happens is if you want to find a real rare one, you have to have the obverse eye pointing at a bead in like this, and the reverse or the back pointing at a bead. So this is one of the scarcer ones. So this, see how this D points at a bead? This I points at a bead. This is one of the scarcer ones. So if you are a collector of the kind of different, they're not really called error coins, but the different versions or different variants, this is the one that many people really try to get, the one where both point at a bead. Another thing that they look at on these is they say this NQs at the eyebrow, and if we look right in here, we see a little bit of version. In this one, you can actually see the eyebrow, so that's kind of a nice touch. But this is the plain eyebrow. This is not the NQs, and so that makes it also the same version, the obverse 3 or the rarer version. And there's also one other thing that you can look at here, and that is you can look at the A of the half and see if it goes to the beads. So this A right here, if this follows down to a bead, then it's one version. If it goes between the beads, it's another version. And see how this one kind of goes in between. It's hard to see these, granted, but this one goes in between the beads. So this confirms that this is so-called obverse 3 reverse C. All right. Well, that's all we have today from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Oh no, you probably want to know what it's worth, right? Well, this coin is not the rarest coin in the world. It is, and when they look at it in Amista, they rate it as a 4, which means it's one of the most common coins that there is. They made 24 million of these, and it's worth between $1 and $3 or $4. And this version with this variant is probably worth $5 to $7. So not a lot, but a lot more than it was worth when it first came out. All right, that's all we have from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. Leave any comments you have in the comments section.